Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be making my predictions for game week 26 of the 25-26 EFL Championship season, and this should be the first games to predict of 2026, or in 2026, but let's see how I did last week. I got no scorelines correct, but I did get 5 outcomes correct, so that's 5 points, taking my season total up to 183. And this is how the table looks after 25 matches. And without further ado, let's predict tomorrow's matches. And we start with Birmingham City against Coventry City, in a battle of two sides that are on a bit of a mixed form right now. Birmingham seem to be much better at home than they are on the road this season. Coventry, for the most part of the season, have been very good, but in recent times they've been on a bit more of a shaky run of form. Ipswich have closed the gap on them from 16 points down to 8. I don't think the title race is actually done yet. With still, about 20 matches left to go this season. But it is Coventry, but Birmingham are good at home. I'm going to sit the fence with a 1-1 draw on this one. I think a point won't be a bad result for either, and they can push on after the FA Cup matches and win again, maybe, but a 1-1 draw is what I'm going on game 1. Next up, we've got QPR against Sheffield Wednesday. And this is an interesting one as well. Sheffield Wednesday, obviously bottom. I think they're -6 points now. Still in the negatives and really struggling to find wins. Few draws there. QPR are on a bit of bizarre form as well. Of course, as I keep saying, they tend to be a team that likes to go on winning and then losing streaks. I don't know where to go with this one. Sheffield Wednesday on their day can get draws. I just have a feeling they might actually get something from this on the road. I'm going to sit on the fence again with a 1-1 draw on this one. QPR haven't been on the best of form recently, and Sheffield Wednesday can pop up with results here and there, so a 1-1 draw in game 2. Next up, we've got Sheffield United against Oxford United, in quite a big mismatch in the Championship, it must be said. Sheffield United, off the back of a 2-1 victory, I believe, last week. Oxford, they narrowly lost 2-1 to Ipswich. They actually put up quite a good fight. They went 1-1 and then drew. Well, were drawing, and then Ipswich found the winning goal. But they're against the Sheffield United form, who did just batter Leicester. I think there's only one winner here, and that is the Blades. I think Sheffield United are on playoff chasing form, and if, there's still about half the season to go, if Sheffield United can go on a run, they may well find themselves somehow, given their shaky start to the season, in the top 6. I wouldn't put it past them. And Oxford have got to be one of the favourites for relegation now, unfortunately. I'm going to back the Blades for a 3-1 win. I think it could be quite comfortable for them, and Chris Wilder's boys get another 3 points closer to the playoffs. Next up, we've got Blackburn Rovers against Charlton Athletic. Both these sides, they're in pretty draw-happy form right now. Both sides don't really like to score goals either. Their goals have kind of dried up. Charlton, all season, Charlton's managed to score about 1 goal on average a game, but they've managed to get the 3 points over the line, and recently it's been 1-0. Same could be said about Blackburn recently, in their recent form actually. Blackburn, they're off the back of a 2-0 defeat to Wrexham coming into this. Charlton, they did draw 1-1 against Coventry. That was a good result, actually. I'm going to go 0-0. I think could be a draw. goalless draw. Next up, we've got Bristol City against Preston North End, and both these sides, they're on pretty up and down form. Preston are in pretty good form. They're still in and around the playoffs, but they like to draw a lot of games. Bristol City have fallen off to about mid-table, but they are the home side, and I do tend to like the Robins for something at home. If I was at Preston, I may well be back in the narrow Preston victory, but seeing as the Robins are at home, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw on this one. I think both sides will get a point and push them even further up the table. Next up, we've got Derby County against Wrexham in a battle of two sides that are on pretty good form. Well, Wrexham are on very good form, but both these sides have found each other next to each other in the table. Wrexham are on very good form, but Derby are at home, and John Eustace can get results over the line at home with a Derby squad that can still mathematically make the playoffs with the table being so congested. Second, Wrexham. Wrexham are on good form, and if I had to pick a winner, I would pick the Welsh side, but I'm going to sit on the fence with a Desmond, a 2-2 draw on this one. I think a point, I know I keep saying it, but a point wouldn't be the end of the world for either side, and hey, that's a point potentially close to the playoffs, so 2-2. Next up, we've got Hull City against Watford, and last game week, Watford actually leapfrogged Hull in the table. Hull with the 1-0 defeat to Stoke, Watford with a 3-0 victory last week. That is commanding stuff. Watford are on great form right now, but I still think with Hull being at home, I think the Tigers can get something here. I think Hull definitely haven't given up on the playoffs there. I think they're now 5th, Watford are 4th, so this is a very, very crucial game for both sides. I wouldn't say Watford's entirely, well, I wouldn't say exactly either of these sides are entirely out of the top 2 race, but I think it's going to be tricky. I think both sides are going to drop some points here. I'm going to sit in the fence with another back-to-back 2-2 draws. I think both sides will be fairly happy with a point to try and stay in the playoff places. So a Desmond on this one as well. Next up, we've got Middlesbrough against Southampton. Now, Southampton off the back of a 0-0 bore against Birmingham, and Middlesbrough lost last week, I believe, and Middlesbrough have actually dropped down to 3rd now in the table. They've been leapfrogged by the Tractor Boys, Ipswich Town, in the league table. Southampton currently 14th, they're mid-table. Things aren't looking great for us. We keep getting results over the line, but not exactly the results we want. And Borough's form is actually not great either. They've got 1 win, 1 draw, 3 losses in their last 5. But I do think Borough will go back to winning ways here. I think it's going to be close because Southampton games are always close. Borough's goal-scoring form has dried up recently. So let's back Borough for a narrow win, 1-0. I think Borough will just find a way somehow to get the 3 points and stay within the top 2 discussion. 1-0 Borough is where I'm going on this one. Next up, we've got Millwall against Swansea City. And this is another tricky one, because Millwall have actually dropped out the playoffs. They're in 7th place. They are off the back of a 1-1 draw. As for Swansea, they got a narrow 1-0 victory against West Brom last week. Last game week it was 0-0 for a long time, which was my prediction, and then Swansea found a relatively late goal to win. It's a crucial 3 points for the Swans, but Millwall, we know what Millwall are like at home. They can get narrow draws, but narrow victories, and I think Millwall will do a Millwall special and win 1-0. I think this game could be tight, and I think it could be, and maybe Millwall will do on Swansea what Swansea did to West Brom last week and get a relatively late goal to snatch the 3 points. 1-0 Millwall to push probably back into the playoffs. Next up, we've got Norwich City against Stoke City. And Norwich are 22nd. They're just about a point or so behind Portsmouth in the table, and come on to Portsmouth in a minute. But they're against the Stoke side who, despite their win 1-0 against Hull last game week, they're not in great form. Norwich are flying right now despite being in the drop zone. I do think I fancy the Canaries here. Didn't think I'd say that a few weeks back, but I do think the Canaries at Carrow Road will continue the great form and win 2-1. I think Norwich have found the shooting boots again. Josh Sargent popping up with a winning goal, I think 1-0 last week. And I do think they will make it at least back-to-back wins here, and Stoke to go back to losing ways. So 2-1 to Norwich is where I'm going on this one. And then we talk about their rivals. Our rivals, it's Portsmouth against Ipswich Town. And oh boy, this is a corker as well. Corker of a game. Portsmouth are in great form at the minute, but Ipswich are on, dare it be said, title-winning form at the minute. They are flying. I don't expect it to be easy. Ipswich have struggled more on the road this season. I don't expect it to be easy, but I do expect the Tractor Boys to somehow find the 3 points. I think there's going to be goals. Portsmouth have also found the shooting boots now. I do think that there's going to be goals in this one. It's going to be an entertaining watch. But I'm going to back Ipswich. I mean, they haven't been convincing. Their 2-1 victory against Oxford wasn't convincing, but it was the 3 points they needed to get in the top two. And I think they're going to continue hunting Coventry down with a 3-2 win. I think Ipswich will get the 3 points and move the chains closer to Cov at the top, which, if my predictions came true, would make the gap 7 points, I think. But a 3-2 victory to the Tractor Boys. And then finally we go on to Monday night, 8 PM kickoff. It's Leicester City against West Brom. And this one's a hard one to read. West Brom I do prefer at the Hawthorns, but Leicester, as at the King Power, and Leicester's a hard one to read as well. They're off the back of, I think, a 3-1 defeat to Sheffield United. But I think, despite, we keep talking about the potential points deduction coming Leicester's way, I do think Leicester have enough to even make the playoffs this season if a points deduction doesn't come. But they've got to start getting on great red-hot form in the second half of this campaign. I think Leicester will somehow get the 3 points here. I'm going for Leicester to win 2-1. I think the Foxes will narrowly get the 3 points over the line and move the chains close to the playoffs. 2-1 to the Foxes. And there you have it, guys. All 12 championship matches predicted. Matches are coming in thick and fast at the moment. I'd love to know your predictions in the comments down below as ever, guys. And yeah, that's it for a while. In the championship, they've got FA Cup weekend next weekend, and the championship will be back in a couple weeks. So stay tuned for more predictions videos, and I'll see you all in the next one.